Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode of the Linda Ogweno Political Show. We don't take it for granted here that you take your time to watch this particular show, and some of you have even gone ahead to make comments and refer this show to your friends and your social network. Thank you very much. Today, we want to look at what are some of the things you're going to consider before joining a political party. You know, in Kenya, you can either vie as an independent candidate or you can vie using a political party. There are so many political parties in Kenya. So how do you get to choose which vehicle you're going to use for your candidature? Before I get into the details, let me take a minute to appreciate Women United for Our Future for the role and support they have played towards the production of this particular show. So one of the things you want to know about a political party, you want to find out what are their core values and their core policies and principles. Every political party has an ideology that led to them coming together and it being formed. And as an aspirant, you have your why. Why is it that you are vying for that particular seat? What is it that pushed you so that you want to represent those particular people? So look at your why and look at the core principles and the core values of that particular political party and see, are they married? And if so, then that is a political party that you may want to consider. And then you also want to look at the history of this political party as far as those ideologies that you looked at in terms of have they been consistent? Is this a message they have been speaking? The same message, or they keep changing here and there. The other thing you want to find out within the political party, is there a democratic space? Do you have, for example, freedom of speech? Are they adhering to the constitution of Kenya? You find that yes, there's a political party, but they still have to conform with the laws and the regulation of Kenya. ORPP, the body mandated to regulate political parties, also has code of conduct for political parties. So you may want to go a step ahead and find out if that political party is adhering to the code of conduct that has been set out, and the election code of conduct also for political parties. How are they as far as that is concerned? You want to look at the membership requirements. Of course, you have to join a political party. So how do you get to join this political party? What are the requirements? And you also want to find out, you find some political parties, there's a fee that is charged when you're joining that political party. And not only when you're joining, you find that there's even an annual fee. There's even maybe fee for particular different classes of membership. So you want to find out all these details and decide what type of member do you want to be. Do you want to be an ordinary member? And for those fees that you're charging, are you able to afford them? You want to look at the political party constitution. Every political party has their constitution that guides their operations and how they do their activities. Please go through that. You find that many aspirants ignore this, and then when they get in trouble, that's when they run to the constitution to read it when they want to maybe take legal action and there's a certain dispute. So no, this is information you need to know in good time and get to know more details about it. For example, if there's like a dispute resolution board that is supposed to be made, you want to find out in the area that's where you're contesting for election, is that dispute resolution board alive? Is it active, or is it something that has just been written in the constitution, but when you come to the practicality of it, it is not there? You even want to go ahead and find out who are the members of this board and know this information early, because you'll find there's very little time after during the campaign period. You have a dispute, you want to raise it up, you don't know these officials, you don't know where to get them. There's very little time to find out this information. So if you find it out in good time, then that leaves you at a comfortable position. Political parties, of course, it's a political party in the entire Kenya. So you'll find that there's the national level, there's the county level, there's the ward level. Some political parties have even gone ahead to segregate it to even the polling station level. So you want to know what are the structures of this particular political party, and if they've gone down to even the polling station level, you know, who are the officials at the polling station. You see, you have to know all these people, and that structure is very important. It's also important in terms, if you're maybe somebody living with disability or able differently, you find some political parties have a structure specifically for people who are abled differently. So you want to know this so that you are aligned to that particular wing, because it speaks to your particular situation. You find that there is the youth league, there is the women league in political parties. So you want to find out if those structures are very clear within the political party. And if you're somebody who's probably a youth or a woman, you want to align yourself with these particular places, because they may help your candidature and they may help elevate you to just another level. You want to find out what are the code of conduct of this particular political party. Do they have it? Is it written? How do people behave in that particular political party? You also want to find out financial transparency. Yes, you will be paying money to a political party, either directly as a member or even as an aspirant. So you want to look at what is their transparency. Some political parties also receive money from ORPP in the name of political parties fund. So how have they been using this money? How are they supporting the activities within that political party? You find as an aspirant, you may go for a meeting and a political party expects you to fuel that entire budget. And if you're not comfortable with this, it may put you in a funny and an awkward situation. So how is that political party in terms of their finances? Do they finance their activity, or you as an aspirant will be expected to finance? And if you're expected to finance, to what level are you expected to finance these things? Do they even have audited books? And are they available? Is this something that you can quickly look at and maybe make an opinion here and there? Also, as far as registration is concerned, and I've talked about the different categories of membership. There's the ordinary member. You find that in some political parties, maybe there is a life member. There are different categories of membership. So which membership do you want, and how much is it being charged? You find that as a candidate, some political parties require that if you're going to contest to be their flag bearer, then you have to be in a certain class of membership. You may not be in the normal class of membership. So in that class that they're demanding for you to be there, what is the charges, and are there annual charges? Is there every monthly charges? These are things you want to know, and budget for them in your political in your campaign budget. Sorry, you want to know, how do I join this political party? Is there a form that I need to fill in? Do they use, for example, USSD code? Do they have an online platform? Maybe through their website you are able to log in and become a member. And of course, when you're talking about joining a political party, you're also talking about leaving a political party. So the day that you want to leave, how then do you get to leave? What are the channels that the political party has laid out for you to be able to use? You want to look at, how do I become a political party official? Sometimes as a candidate, it's very advisable for you to become a political party official, because you'll get to interact with that political party in an inner way, in an in-depth way, so that when it comes to the time that you'll be vying for your political position, the party knows you and they're able to say, no, so and so, we know them, and you have already gotten that publicity that you wanted in that political party. So then how do you become a party official? There are different calibers of party officials, and I'd already talked about the structure. So do you want to become a party official at the ward level? Do you want to become at the national level? These are the things you want to know. And how then do people get to be political party members in that political party? You find, for example, some political parties, it is the member who are on the lower level, like let's say the members who are in a polling station, who get to elect the officials who will be in the ward level. The ones in the ward level get to elect the officials who will be in the county level, and then the ones in the county level get to elect the ones who will be on the national level. So you want to know this, so that if you want to become a political party official, you know how to go about this. You want to find out the contact information of that political party at the highest level, and even at the local level, because if you want to communicate something to this political party, how then do you get to do that? So you want to even know where their offices are, and take time and go visit that office. There are things that you may be able to see just from observation, but it is important that you know the contact and even the location of that political party. You want to know, how are special interest groups treated within that political party? And special interest group are youth, people living with disability, or people able differently, and the women. How are they treated? Is that clear in the constitution? And is it a political party that has written it and is also acting it? You know, how are, for example, people living with disability, how have they been given a space within that political party? How have they been active within that space? You want to find out all these things. What is the culture of that political party? And when speaking about culture, this is what may not be written in the constitution, but it's the mannerism and the ethos that are guiding that political party. It is very important that you know this, because this can weed you out easily as a candidate. Allow me to share an excerpt from my experience. I went for a political party meeting, and in that party, I was expecting people to have decorum, like when you want to speak, you raise your hand and you're pointed and you make your point. But that was not the case. People were speaking over each other and out each other, and it was very rowdy and chaotic. And the party, the room, the office where that meeting was being held was made by was made out of a mabati and out of an iron sheet. And you'd find some members were hitting the wall and the roof, and it was very chaotic. The next thing I know, somebody has come to hold my hand and tell me, come and speak. And you can imagine in that particular situation. And I know you are also wondering how I was able to navigate that. Continue watching this channel. I'll be able to disclose that. But you see, that particular political culture can easily weed you out, and you may not even be able to address those people. And then they can say, this one is a weak candidate, and they write you off like that. About culture, you also find that in a political party, there are the decision makers that are not necessarily on the front line. Maybe there are some old, and I don't mean necessarily they're old, but sometimes you find there are old people who are not on the front line. They're not even party officials, but they're the ones who get to decide who becomes a flag bearer in that political party. They say, oh, this word we give it to this person, that word we give it to that person. So you want to know who are these decision makers at the back end, and make sure that when they're sitting on the table and making decisions about that political party, somebody is putting your name on that table. And this also talks about to people who are called opinion shapers and opinion bearers. You'll find that a political party may not come to the ground to find out maybe who is popular in that particular area. That is if maybe they're using opinion polls. So there are people they have on the ground that they're going to call opinion shapers. They're going to call and ask, in that word, who do you think is very popular? So you want to find out who these people are, infiltrate them, and see into it that they are fronting your name. You also want to find out the nomination process of being a flag bearer. Yes, you can be a flag bearer using different means. You find that some political parties do something called they hold election, and others do people negotiate. You find that in other political parties they use opinion polls, others give direct tickets. So in that political party, which method do they get to use to be their flag bearer? These are things that you want to find out. For example, if people are going for universal suffrage, which is voting, that means you have an expense and you have to budget for that particular exercise. Again, you want to find out for the ones who are making it to the party list. You know, in Kenya you can be elected or you can be nominated. So if you want to use the route of being nominated, find out how does it happen in that political party. Some political parties, for example, the usually put it as mandatory that you must have contested as a candidate, and then for them to consider you for nomination. But you find in other political parties, it is every man for himself and God for us all. So if you're in that political party, then you have to navigate that jungle and find out somebody in that political party, in this highest hierarchy, who is going to speak your language and who is going to front your name when the party list is being fronted. Yes, political parties unfortunately still have a long way to go as far as exercising some of and enjoying some of these democratic rights are concerned. So yes, find out who is making that decision on that party list and see into it that they are speaking your language. That does not mean doing illegal things, just that means continue lobbying until you're hitting the rights, you're knocking the right doors. Dispute resolution, you expect that within any political party, people are going to disagree for one reason or another. How do you get to solve this dispute? Who do you go to? Who do you run to? You want to find out this information. You want to also evaluate reports from election observers. You know, probably this political party has participated in many other elections in Kenya, and so you want to look at what have the observers been able to see for the different other regions, and even the region that you're in, what have the observers been able to write down. You also want to find out this political party, how did it perform in the last election. You find that some political parties are very popular within some areas, and then it comes to some areas it is not popular, and vying with that political party may make you be on a bad standing with the electorate. Just because you have chosen that particular party, people will just say, no, I'm not voting for this particular party. So you want to know in that area that you're in and you're contesting for election, how is that, what is the opinion of the voters about that political party, and how did it perform in the other election. You also want to find out what is the space for mentorship. You find the political parties are required to offer mentorship, yes, in one way or another, to those who are coming in for the first time or those who are junior. So is that space open within that political party, and are you able to take advantage of that space to seek for your election, to seek somebody to just support you, so that before you get your political wings and you're stable enough. Remember, political parties are very, very important. And so when you're looking through the vehicle that you're going to consider. These are some of the things that I've mentioned, but probably I may not have mentioned all of them. So I want to ask you, especially for the people who vied in the last election, to put in the comment section and let us know what is the other thing that somebody needs to consider when they're going to vie through a political party. And to you who has tuned in and watched till the very end, I once again appreciate you for doing that, and I'm inviting you and welcoming you to watch the next episode as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also share with your networks. Thank you and bye-bye.